going on, people? It's the Xbot 448, and today I am completely pumped to bring you this video. For people who know me, know my channel, you know I go in and do research on things, so basically my subscribers, the people who watch my videos, don't have to. And I've done research on the Scorpio, basically hardware and stuff like that, to see exactly this is theoretical, but I'm not usually wrong on this, to see exactly what they're putting into this thing to make it a beast, to make it a monster, all that good stuff, all those nice taglines and everything. And I've come up with a list of things here, and I figure I'll give them to you guys. And as usual, when it comes to these videos, I want to be held to my word on this because I love seeing over time where I was right, possibly where I was wrong and stuff. But there's going to be some eye-opening things in here. There's going to be things I say that, people are definitely going to disagree with, and I can't wait, to be able to prove them wrong and stuff. So let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about is the CPU, because that's pretty much going to be the newest piece of hardware in this thing. And when it comes to the CPU, there's been speculation, but they are most definitely using AMD's Zen processor. Alright, it is an 8-core, 16-threaded CPU. It's AMD's jump into the multi-threaded processor space. When you look at the performance of this thing, alright, it's gonna get somewhere in between the Haswell and the Broadwell. Now, what does that mean for us? Now, I know a lot of people love Intel, okay? Intel's number one, all that good stuff. So, if you want to compare the Zen with Intel, the Zen will perform in comparison to the i7-5960X CPU. So, you look at the Zen will perform in comparison to the i7-5960X. So, as usual, guys, as you're watching this video, as you're listening to my words, I definitely want you to hit up the comment section to let me know what you think about information that I'm putting out here. Alright, so equivalent to the i7-5960X. Now, when it comes to the GPU, this is when things have gotten a little foggier and such. Now, if you look at the GPU, of course they're using AMD. Now, they already said 6 T-flops of graphical power within the GPU. Now, if you look at it, the RX 480 is a 5 T-flop GPU, right? Now, if you bump that up a little bit, say the 480X hypothetically could be 6 T-flops. So I'm going to have to run with AMD's RX 480X with this. Now, when you look at it all together, people will state, well, that means the Scorpio is on the equivalent in terms of graphics cards to the R9 390X. And then, with that comparison, you're looking at NVIDIA's GTX 980. Here's the deal, though. We're talking consoles. We're talking low level for developers. You know what I'm saying? We're not talking about that DX11 high level where, it computes and it translates into the low level direction. We're talking low level from the beginning. So when you're looking at this performance, you should probably look at the DirectX 12 benchmarks when it comes to the R9 390X. Now, when you do that, I'm looking at the benchmark of Ashes of Singularity, a PC game. When you look at these benchmarks, things start to change a little bit. All right, the R9 390X with the benchmark with Ashes of Singularity, you put that at 1080p. All of a sudden, the 390X is right in between the GTX 980 and the GTX 1070. It's in between there in terms of performance, which is a little interesting there. Here's the thing, though. When you kick it up to 4K resolution, that's when you see something that is pretty astonishing. The R9 390X is only 1 frame per second away from the 1070. Alright? So it performs on par with the 1070 DirectX 12 low level. So you're looking at around the 1070. But that's actually going to be even more. When you think about the Polaris architecture and the new GCN4 that they're using, it's actually going to perform better. Yes, I'm saying this, guys. This is going to perform better than the GTX 1070. All right? Just let that sink in for a little bit. I know people are going to be like, oh my goodness, what is he saying? But yes, the Scorpio is going to have a GPU in it that will perform better than the GTX 1070. All right, so let's go on to memory now after you kind of swallowed what I just said there. Memory, of course, Microsoft is saying this is a 4K gaming machine. So 8 gigabytes of memory is just not going to do it. So at the very least, they're going to put 16 gigs in. 8 gigabytes for the VRAM, 8 gigabytes for system. They already came out with some information in terms of the speed. They said 320 gigabytes per second. And if you look at what's out there in the PC world that does 320 gigabytes per second, that would be the GTX 1080 with GDDR5X running at 10 gigahertz. So, I mean, this is pretty much a no-brainer here. They're going to use GDDR5X. Now, the thing is, I wish that they were using the HBM2, high bandwidth memory. We'll see over time if this has changed at all or in possibility upgraded. But as for now, I do have to go with the GDDR5X as there is information out there with the GTX 1080. It runs at the same speed, the same transfer rate. So we're looking at GDDR5X. We're looking at the GPU that's going to basically outperform the 1070 in the PC space. NVIDIA's GTX 1070. NVIDIA, they're losing their grasp on the GPU world. All right, AMD, what they're aiming to do is they're aiming to outperform NVIDIA, but for lower price points. And that's what it seems that they're going to be doing. And with 4K gaming being an emphasis that's only going to get greater over time, it looks like AMD kind of has a stranglehold on the GPU space right now. I know a lot of people don't want to believe it, but the more and more you look into it, the more and more it's showing itself. Okay, now check this out. If you wanted to make a PC today that would be the equivalent of the Scorpio, you just can't wait a year and you really want to get in there and you want to make it today, I'm letting you guys know it would cost over $1,500. That's right, over $1,500, and we're not even talking about the case, the power supply, or the operating system, all right? Over $1,500 for this. So when people are speculating about the price of the Scorpio, I know they're thinking $600-$700, but it's going to be subsidized, guys. This console is going to be subsidized. There are people out there that are touting the $399 mark. I'm going $100 over that. I think it's going to be $500 for this system. I am standing firm on that price point. I believe that's what it's going to be. Now, I know for people who've been following my channel, I've been talking about the Scorpio possibly being upgraded. And I'm going to stick with that. There's a reason why. The Zen processor right here, we're using the 8-core 16-threaded Zen processor, but AMD has come out and said that the Zen can be scaled up to 32 cores. Of course, 32 cores being those crazy overpowered machines like those server farms, stuff like that. But with being scaled up means that there are iterations in between the 8 and the 32. So I'm saying that the Scorpio will be modular, and over time you'll be able to upgrade CPU, GPU, memory, stuff like that, which is why I hope that over time it'll go from the GDDR5X memory to the HBM2 and stuff like that. So I'm still in hopes that this console will be modular, it will be upgradable, and you can upgrade it for a lower price point than owning a PC. As you can see, price point is a big thing, because like I said, if you wanted to build this PC now, you're looking at over $1,500. But this is pretty much my video for now, guys. As usual, if you like the topics, you like the gameplay, definitely hit that thumbs up button for me. Hit the comment section. especially on this video, guys. I want to hear what you think about this hardware, about what I'm proposing is going to be in the Scorpio. Like I said, GPU outperforming the NVIDIA's GTX 1070. That is a big thing to say. The Zen processor being on par with the i7 5960X. That is another big thing to say. You know what I'm saying, guys? Like I said, bombs dropped, eyes opened. Here we go, guys. I dove into it head first, and I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say about it. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, definitely subscribe. But as for now, this is the Xbot 448, and I am definitely signing off.